Okay, so recently I've been thinking a lot about the 2009 was it?
Yeah, yeah, 2009.
2009 movie Avatar. Now, I don't care about this film. And I watched it I think when it first came out on
Yeah,
you know, those sort
on
of DVDs
in,
you
in
get
in the
in
cinema,
in a
of
pub.
course. Yeah,
Yeah. Davo would say sell them. Say it's a really good copy and then but anyway, uh watch that. I think we had 3D glasses or something, or we didn't. I don't know. But yeah, I actually don't think it's a good film. I don't know if it is
mm,
particularly anyway because I feel like it only did so well in the box office because of the 3D and like
yeah,
it was all like
and you.
CG and all that and it was groundbreaking. Like I feel like the next film isn't gonna do as well
Mm,
because like no one's really gonna care. I don't
this is
I
true.
don't understand. Can you share some insight?
Well, you know what? Like, I would agree with you there, but then at the same time, before it came out, I don't think many people cared. Like, particularly, and the status quo was what it was then,
Mhm.
as it is now. You know. So who's to say that when the next one comes out, it won't be like the next big thing, where it's like fully immersive, like 360 4D movie or something like that, you know? Like some Tony Stark hologram type shit.
I don't know. I doubt it because they've waited this long to put out to get the second one out, and then by the sounds of it, they're gonna be pumping them out every 2 years.
Mm.
I
But but every year it gets pushed back a year, so
yeah. So I just don't see the
yeah.
point. Maybe is it?
Well, the first one really isn't all that out. It's like it's fucking Fern Gully, isn't it? It's just it's this man comes down to this mystical place and falls in love with an exotic woman. Ooh,
It's just
some
Narnia for
colonialism.
adults.
Yeah, yeah, Narnia.
Oh well. Let's just get into it. I need to let out
Get
my
it off your chest.
frustrations about Avatar.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you felt safe in this space. The two damn cousins out. They're watching movies.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Reinvent the Real, the show where we, Curtis and Cameron, take your favorite films. That's the same thing. Films,
Yeah.
TV shows, games, and we repitch them into anything that comes to our minds, and we make often a better
Ooh,
film. Yeah, I said it. I
that's a
said it.
that's a bold claim, boy.
That's why I didn't say always. I said often
Okay.
because we did some of them we didn't hit the mark. Like
Wait, no, James Bond was A1.
and what was it? Meet the Robinsons. That was a train
Ah,
wreck.
yeah. I think that was a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah. But let's not dwell on the bad. We're here today again, as you know, to make something good. And we're hitting that random wheel once more. Just as we always do.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping that we get something. We've had some quite a few action ones in the past couple of weeks.
This is true.
We had Emotionals last week, and before that was Mad Max. So I feel
National
like
Fruitcake Day.
it's time to maybe take it down a notch. But we never know what we're gonna get.
This is true.
So
In many ways, life is like a box of chocolates.
never know when you're gonna spin
Waka waka.
that room.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that segue.
Sweet.
Oh, okay. We got a Sacha Baron Cohen type film.
Ah, right. Okay. So there's no kind of obligation here, right? There's no movie we're
No.
taking off. We're just making our own this week. No,
Yeah.
we just
Like
gotta
a
go.
like a Borat esque.
Yeah, Gotta just fly straight forward. All right, okay. Well, we can workshop that a bit. We can figure something out.
Has to be a straight to DVD sequel.
Oh, all right. Now we kind of have a obligation.
Yeah. Has to have a makeover scene.
Oh yeah.
This is kind of just sounding like Borat 2.
Mm.
Mm. And it's an oldie but a goldie.
Oh.
It has to star one Michael Cera.
Yeah. Okay. So what?
Okay.
Hmm. Okay. Now I know we said straight to DVD, and that kind of gives it an obligation to kind of relate to his. But we could still have our own.
Do an original one.
Yeah, and then it
Yeah.
just be a sequel.
It's a
So
sequel.
we'll have to build this character, but
Yeah.
have make it seem like they already exist.
Yeah, no, I get you. I just realized we're gonna have to be very careful this episode because I feel like it's gonna be very easy to slip into like casual racism or
Well,
like you know.
I feel like the best place to start with these type of movies is find a topic that we
Yeah.
can talk about, and then like that would be kind of good, I guess. To
Yeah.
that he would make his film about. So what we got? What we got?
Uh. It's usually like so the way these films usually go is it's a guy from a far off land who wants to make it in big America land or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we saying? Don't keep it in that kind of vein.
I guess we can.
Or did you want to flip it and maybe have like someone from America go to like maybe
Ooh,
like one of their homelands?
could do. Mm, it's just what do we know about that? That's the only thing.
This is also true.
Mm. Oh, it's a hard one.
It is. It's just I think for us our biggest issue is always starting.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say keep going off the back of that. It's a guy. Yeah, let's say he just goes to, or they could already live there, or something.
Hmm.
Uh, oh, this is
Hmm.
tough. Right.
What's our character's name? Let's start there.
Okay.
Maybe if we know more about our actual character, then we can figure out what motivates them.
Yeah. Name.
Greg.
Okay. Yeah. Greg. Sure. Greg.
Greg Shaw. Yeah.
Greg
Oh,
Shaw.
you're agreeing.
Yeah, but yeah, that works. That works. Greg
Yeah,
Shaw.
Greg Shaw. The Greg Shaw.
Okay.
Do we wanna have like an actor like a Sacha Baron Cohen playing this Greg Shaw? But you're very much the whole film like, oh, it's I don't know. I can't think of an example.
Okay, I've got it.
Yeah.
Greg Shaw, just played by Michael Cera.
Oh yeah.
He is like a big. He's a nerd. He's a massive nerd. He loves
Nice.
Dungeons and Dragons. He loves like. He's very socially awkward. He doesn't like. He's not really good at talking to people. He's a massive introvert, except when he's like in this world of like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's when he can
I'm getting
really
fat.
come out and
Yeah.
bring his character out and all that. And instead of him like, well, so yeah, he basically like the first part, or let's say the first film, would have followed him around in like his life and going into like him going to conventions, him with his like friends, and they were like, yeah, it's great being him, but they hijinks would ensue, whatever, like he would also they're trying to put him in social situations that he wouldn't really like to go in. For example, he goes to a club and has to try pick up girls or whatever, things like that.
Yeah.
So we've
Exactly.
established
But
this character as like, oh, big nerd, can't make it like as a
as a functioning human in society.
sort of thing, yeah. So the next film, this film, what we're doing now, he has to like he's going out into the world to teach people about like Dungeons and Dragons and all the things he liked and try to pull them in to that world. And
Okay.
that, so like maybe one time he goes to a nursing home and tries to tell them about it, and he's trying to teach all these old people how to play the game. Or like
Yeah. And they're
um
like, "Get out of my face, you loser."
yeah. And then like I don't know, what situation do you think we could put him in?
Um, maybe another one is like he goes to like a not like a Bible camp
Yeah.
type thing, and he's like, "Hey, stop messing with drugs and deal with this."
Dice.
Yeah.
We don't use the
Because my
bad D
warlock
around here.
is a yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's just get into it. I think.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'll start it off. So it's like it's a mockumentary in it, and like the characters come in. And he's like, he answers the door, and he's like, "Oh, hey, you're back. Look at me. Well, come
I'm
in,
Greg.
come in. You remember last time where? So I was with Janice, who you know we hit it off when I met her in the club. She liked me, but ultimately she left me for my neighbor.
um,
And
Greg.
yeah, it's just true. I couldn't find love. You guys were right. I should have never done this. But now I found a new purpose in life. That's right. I'm gonna teach everyone about my hobbies. I'm gonna make everybody's life better because you don't have to have love when you have dice and dungeons, and you don't need as many friends. You can just create your own characters and your own world. Oh, I'd love to live in my own world, but unfortunately, I have to live in this one. My name
But
is Greg Shaw, and
what?
welcome to my second film, Dice in the Dungeons. Dicing out the dungeons. There we go.
And what does that mean? What's it about? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you didn't see the first one, it's clearly about and then like in Invincible, and it just like pops up on the
Yeah.
screen, and it's just like. I don't know, that was the Marvel theme. I don't know. Sorry. Yes.
So like the people behind the camera, like, so you came to us with this idea. Oh no, maybe it was like the person behind the studio or whatever. Like, yeah, we don't know why the reception to Greg was so good. Like, everybody asked us to bring him back, see where his life was like a couple years down the line. And honestly, when we went back, nothing has changed. He's still that boring loser that
We still.
nobody liked, and like already had his small group and whatever. But everybody
cut
on
with footage of him.
yeah,
Just like
it's like drops a chip on the floor or something, like smells it and just eats it or whatever. And he's like, yeah, but everybody seems to love that weirdo. So now the studio has said we've got to make another film with him. And we were like, well, what the hell are we supposed to do? Because, you know, it's Greg. Poor Greg, he's boring. Like, so we said, well, what would you like to do? And it cuts to Greg and he's like, what would I want to do? Oh, that's
Nice.
great. I can't believe you're actually giving me like the freedom to do what I want. Last time we just, you told me what to do. Now I can do something. I'm gonna spread my message around. And then it cuts off him. It goes back. He's like, yeah, he wants us to spend a bunch of money to put him around the US to promote Dungeons and Dragons. That's literally it. That's all he wants to do.
Nice.
And then they're like, well, how is that gonna land? Like, it's like, well, let's say the studio is very malicious to this great character, and they're like, well, we're just gonna put him in situations that we know he can't function in again, and yeah, hopefully the money will come in because we don't want to work with this guy. We just want the money, and apparently all of you suckers just like hearing about Greg. So fine, we'll take him. We'll take him around the US. We'll put him on display for all you people at home watching this. But I tell you what, we're never doing another Greg movie again. And it cuts back to him like packing his stuff, like he's going in his dice collection and stuff. He's like, oh, gonna need these. Grab a bunch of character sheets. Hell yeah! It's like, oh, and I can't forget. And he like opens up a closet and it's like a bunch of like costumes and stuff. He's
Nice.
like, oh, which one should I bring? Do I want to be Wizard Greg or the Sir Greg, the humble knight who saves the town of Larian and loves, you know,
Yeah,
justice?
Princess Ethelfoot. And like the guy behind the camera is like, I could not care less. He's like, you're right. I bring them all. And then it cuts to him like walking in slow motion down the street in
Yeah,
like his like wizard's costume,
yeah,
but it's still like tucked in to the back so you can like see his underwear or
yeah.
some
Oh,
stupid shit like that. And he's just like walking in slow motion. Sometimes like I act the scene out, forgetting this is a podcast.
yeah. I did see it though. I know,
Yeah,
so it's fine. But I'm sure we're quite descriptive, so people
this
can
is true.
make the own image in their head.
They can get to the gist.
So I think the first like social situation that you'd come to would be like, oh, can we get a boom burger? We can't. We're not
Yeah,
authorized to put in any actual brands.
and yeah,
Yeah, and they're like, oh, whatever, go for it. He goes in, and they're like, and his confidence has gone up from the first film, so he's more like, greetings,
no,
the
Jesus
people
Christ.
of Boomburger. I am Gregor Phil, the mighty wizard of Larian, who requires sustenance to carry on my journey.
Nice. He's really hamming up like the fucking, like like the I like this drink another like
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they're
And then
like,
he tries doing that, but it's like a paper cup and like, sir, this is a boom burger.
yeah. They're like, okay, so, what meal would you like? Like, I'd like a boom deluxe with extra pickles for my
Deluxe.
magic.
Yeah.
And they're like, is that regular or large? He's like, a wizard only deals with large. And like the camera kind of shakes. You can see like, oh my god. And like the guy behind the counter as well. He's just like looking over at the cameraman, like so he goes to he's got his tray in hand and he goes to sit down. He's like, oh yes, another fine meal at the banquet of the boom. And he's just like goes to eat and he's like, oh my god, look over there. There's George. And I'm like,
Nice.
oh, who's George? And they're like, he's only my good partner in Dungeons and Dragons. You know, we played many hours together, and it like cuts to like a hi,
To
I'm
to
George.
George. Can he
He's
be
like a
played by
very
like
upbeat
Taika
character.
Waititi or something?
Yeah, right. Hi,
Yeah.
mate. I'm George. You know me.
I just wanted to
I'm
hear you
just
do
a
that.
just a happy guy. Yeah. I've known Greg pretty much my whole life. Everybody kind of takes the piss out of Greg, but that's fun because we need him around. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's like, oh, George, they're doing another film on me. It's like, oh, that's great. The first one was pretty good. I don't know about your girlfriend for that, but it's like, do not talk about that wench.
That wench's
Yeah.
name.
Sorry, mate. Well, good luck on your film. They're like, no, George, we need you to come on this adventure. We need you to come on this adventure with us. Teach the good word of Dungeons and Dragons. He's like, oh, I don't know, mate. I got work. I don't think I can get out of it. It's like, no, forget those people. You don't need work. You'll get royalties from this film. Like, he's like, right? Would George get paid? And Cameron just like shakes no. He's
Yeah.
like, well, still, you can think of all the
Do
children
it
we
for
can teach.
exposure.
And think of the good word. Come on. It's like, oh well, sure, mate. If you really think about it, if you really think it will help, you know, I love D&D, and it's helped me create friendships. And great, then we can go off and
We ride
start
at
this
dawn.
adventure. Yeah, we ride it.
Yeah. He's like, oh. So he's like, so him in. Where is it that you want to get to again? Like, you know, like the final. I can't do it as good as you. Like the final destination. And he's like, here. And he lays it down, and he's like, oh, looks like we don't get to see what it is yet. Like the final destination he wants to get to.
Yeah.
And he's like, how are we gonna get there? He's like, one does not simply walk into. I just wanted to include that meme.
Fair enough. It's like, well,
He's like,
we'll borrow Richard's van. He's like, oh, I don't know if Richard would be up for that. Yeah. But he's like, we have to. It's got all our characters painted on the side. But, you know, we need this van. And so, like, the next scene is them going to Richard's house and asking him to borrow the van. And Richard's just like a massive stoner, pretty much. And he's, yeah, he's like, whoa, it's Gregor film. I can't remember what I called him. His
yeah.
wizard character. It's Greg the Wizard.
No, I get you.
What are you doing here, man? I didn't think the session was till next week. And he's like, the session will have to be postponed for a couple of weeks. Bro, they are doing another movie of Greg. But this time, it's Gregorful.
It's personal. Nice.
And he's like, oh, that's great. Well, what do you need me for, man? I'm kind of busy here. He's like, well, I don't need you necessarily. I would like to take your stallion. He's like, oh, dude, that's no way to talk about my girlfriend like that, man. Why didn't say anything about your girlfriend like that? He's like, no, women are, and he goes into some sexist rant, pretty much.
Women are queens. No, kids, so yeah.
And then he's like, oh, well, what do you want? He's like, your car, your van. We must take it for our epic road trip of dual.
Epicness.
Yes. And he's like, well, I don't know, cause yeah, I rent that van out like for a couple of times a week. Like, it's really good with like magicians, who like party clowns. They like taking it because it looks cool. He's like,
Also,
go on.
can I? Maybe like in the background for the rest of the film, you just see like a lot of like missing child posters and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like, watch out for this van.
Yeah.
Oh.
And every time they go past it, they go, "That's crazy. That really looks like your van, but it's like slightly different, you know."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Huh."
I say he was like, what can I do? He's like, well, he's like, we've been friends for how long? We've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for how long? I was like, oh, well, wouldn't call us friends. It's like, oh, but come on, like, do it for me, do it for the session. And he's like, no, man, I'm not giving you my van. I'm sorry, dude. He's like, he just goes, look, let me. He just shuts the door on him, and the camera guy goes, well, what are you gonna do now? He's like, let me talk to him. I know it will come. He'll come round, and it's like, just turn off the cameras and I'll sort it quickly. And like they don't turn off the cameras, obviously. And he goes into the room. He's like, come on, man, I really need this. Like, they're giving me another film. Like, I'll pay you like double whatever they're paying. Come on, like, give it to me. He's like, oh, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Like the camera
Like
kind
they're
of
from
goes
afar, and you can see like
Yeah.
the boom mic guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see the vision.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I don't know. Then you're gonna have to do the dance for me. He's like, no, not the Greg Wizard dance. Yeah. It's like, yeah, now you got it, but I want like 500 by next month. And he's like, if it's a small price to pay for spreading the good word. And so their adventure begins. He gets in the van, the cameraman's in, George is next to him, and they make their first stop, which I'm gonna hand over to you.
Okay. Wait, so he's like, Taika Waititi's character. He's like, hey man, you at least got any tunes for this road trip? He's like, I mean, I guess I could maybe see if I can find my mix. Here it is. He like blows dust off it, puts it in. Ding 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 ding. I just wanted to include that song. But was that last week as well?
The week before.
Week before. So close. So close. Yeah. So. Where was I? Sorry, Rascal Flatts took over for us for a second then. Oh yes, we're on this epic adventure.
Yeah.
So they're driving for a bit, and you see them on the freeway or whatever, and they all just like, oh, you know, I'm hungry. I need the toilet. Can we hurry up? Can we go, please? Like, are we there yet? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, I will turn this car around. Do not make me. And you can just see like the cameramen, like half of them are crammed into that car.
Yeah.
Into the van, sorry, and the other half are like in a van in front, just like recording them. And you go, alright guys, we're gonna make a turn here. We're gonna go to a service station.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull in, and it's like a Chuck E. Cheese type establishment, but it's like a, you know, like one of those knockoff ones, you know.
Yeah.
And they get there, and they're just like, this does not look like fun. Like the cameraman, but all the guys are like, yeah. And like they all go to split up, and they're like, all right, you know, we've got 15 minutes here. You can get your food. You can go to the toilet. Whatever you do, don't let what's his name? His friend, not
George.
Greg's mate.
George.
Yeah, is that
George.
Taika Waititi the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever you do, don't let him have any sugar. He's like, but he's like, don't let him have any sugar. And they're like, all right, cool, whatever, blah 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 blah. And then it like follows the stoner guy for a bit, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm just here just for the adventure, you know.
Oh.
Also, like, I know they would have stolen my van anyway, so might as well be with it. Do you know how many times that van's been stolen in the last few weeks? It's actually crazy.
Oh.
Comes back with scuff, but then it gets returned with like scuffs on it and like claw marks in the back. I don't know what that's about.
Jesus.
And then it cuts back to Greg, and he's like, yeah, can I have like a double deluxe Mundo burger with where is that from? Can I get a double deluxe Mondo burger with like chili cheese fries, please, or whatever? And they're like, yeah, cool, yeah. He's like, and can I get a fit? And then the guy's like, oh no, your meal's already been paid for. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, the camera crew have agreed to pay for it. And like, oh, thank you, you kind souls. And then like it cuts to one of the cameramen. He's like, nah, we just wanted to see what this would look like.
Oh.
And then it cuts back, and you can just hear, are you not entertained? Do you not like this? And it's like the Taika Waititi character, and he's like frothing at the mouth.
Jeez.
And he's got like a staff that he's like whipped out of nowhere, and these kids are all like running at him, and he's just like like
George is
And it's
just
like, oh,
basically beating up children.
yeah. And George like runs in, he tries to defuse the situation, and the kid's like, no, he started it. We're gonna end it, and they like whip out knives.
Oh my god.
And he's like, they're not kids, they're midgets, run! And like half the camera crew are still just like sat in their car, just waiting, and just in the background you just see them like just come sprinting out,
Oh my god.
and like a small army of midgets with knives, and they like hop in the van, and like the van back door's still open, and they're swerving and that, and George is like, and then it like smash cuts to an hour later, and George is like hungover, and he's like, I'm really sorry, man. I don't know what happened. It's all kind of a blur. I'm sorry. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then what happens?
Well, okay, he's obviously not happy with this exchange. But it's fine, because he's like, we're here. And they made the first stop off. And he's like, so they go, look at it. And they like point to the sign. It's just like Grand Oaks Retirement Home. It's like, they're like, why do you want to come to a retirement home? He's like, well, for a start, all they do is sit around all day and do nothing. So this is the perfect opportunity to get them to roleplay and show them the world of Dungeons and Dragons. And so they're like, oh, sure, whatever. So they all go in, and they're like, I don't know, one of the care home workers are like, okay, so we've got a special surprise for you all today. We're gonna show you this group of magicians. He's like, no, it's Dungeons and Dragons we're showing them. He's like, oh, okay, well, they're gonna show you how to play some game or whatever. I don't know. Just shut up for a while. And they're like, okay, old timers, do any of you know what Dungeons and Dragons are? You just hear like coughs in the background or something. It's like, well, it's an amazing game. It was like, shut up, fucking fruitcake. They're like, whoa.
You fucking nerd.
Yeah. Like, settle down, old timer. Come on. I was like, no, I don't want to play any of his nerdy ass games. They're like, yeah, piss off. It's like, but it involves roleplay. And they're like, well, you do enough of that here at the retirement home anyway. And like, what do you mean? You already play Dungeons and Dragons? You say, no.
Nice.
When the lights go out, we'll show you the kind of roleplay we.
Cameron.
And it turns out they're like, oh, it turns into them actually showing them a thing or two. It's like, just stick around for till the night. And they're like, oh, they play Dungeons and Dragons at night. They're like, oh, do we get into costumes? Can we get into our costumes? They're like, oh, well, maybe. It depends on how some of us are feeling. And then it's like, yeah, so you're in charge of them tonight, basically. So all the care home workers go home and they're like, yeah, any problems, just call us. They're like, all right, cool. They're like, cool, so when are you going to show us this amazing game of Dungeons and Dragons you play? It's like, we didn't say we played that game. We said we roleplay. It's like, yeah, but that's basically Dungeons and Dragons. There's got a lot of roleplay in there. It's like, no, I think you're a bit wrong. And then like the music starts playing, and then it turns into like a massive swingers party and stuff. But they're very unaware of this situation still, until like they're all like drinking and partying and stuff. They're like, oh, this is amazing. It's like, we haven't done anything like this since, well, ever, really. And he's like, Greg's kind of like, oh, I know this sort of situation. This is like when I went to the club, but why are all these old people doing it? They're just like, earlier on they were just sitting around and looking all ill and decrepit, and they're like, now they're partying and stuff. And like, you just see an old guy in the back, just like, I don't know, doing some hard drugs and shit. Yeah, doing that. And
he's doing a line. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, George, sorry, gets into the sugar again, and he gets on like a sugar high. Like the stoner guy is all like, yeah, dude, this woman's said she's gonna show me how to roleplay in the back. You gonna be all right out here? He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just, showing these people how to create their own character and stuff. And they're just like not listening to him. And so basically, like, the stoner guy basically goes into the back. with the older woman. Yeah, we'll come back to that.
You just like you hear her take her teeth out.
Yeah, and then so it gets to another point in the night. They're like, right, it's time. Everybody, put your room key in the bowl. And they're like, oh, what's this? Do I need to put like? Do I need to like prepare any of my spells and stuff? And they're like, oh, maybe. We'll see. And then, uh, so everybody just starts like stripping down. He's like, what? And then he just starts hyperventilating. He has a Greg moment, pretty much, which, if
Nice.
you would know from the first movie, is when he like cannot deal with any situation, hyperventilates, gets crazy, and he's like, "Oh, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here." George is like
Yeah.
stripping down as well, and they're like, "No, George, we need to go now before they like." And then they all start touching him and shit. He's like, "Ah, no, no!" He runs into like the room and sees the stoner mate like butt naked with the old
Yeah.
lady. He's like, "Oh, Greg, oh, what the hell? I told you not to come in here and stuff." Like, ah, and he just runs out off, and then like the cameraman's like running after him, following him and stuff, and he's like crying and stuff. It's like, no, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I can't do it. And then like he just gets into the back of the van, like shuts the door. He's like, they're like, Greg, are you all right? Can you come out here? Can you talk to us? He's like, no, no, nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear about Dungeons and Dragons. Why did you bring me here? Why did you take me here? They're all crazy. There was so many old wrinkly bits, and I couldn't deal with it. He's like, Greg, it's okay. We'll get you out of here. Just come out of the van. He's like, no, no, I'm not coming out. Go get George and Richard, was it? I think I called him. I don't know. Go get George and Richard.
Yeah, something like that.
Just tell them. Okay, and they're like, right. One of you keep an eye on the van and like make sure nobody gets into it and stuff, and we'll go get the other two and we'll keep this show rolling. It's like the sooner we get this all done, the sooner we can all go home. It's like, all right, okay. And so like, I don't know, the camera. He's just left the camera like set up like on a tripod or something, watching the van. He's like, oh, I'm going for a piss or whatever. It goes off, and then you just see like some guy like looking around, and he breaks into the van, and he steals the van with Greg in the back and drives off.
Yeah.
As per to your plotline of
Yeah.
the van getting stolen.
Yeah.
And I'll let you take
Greg,
it from here.
That's why I wanted to set up, because I was like, maybe we could have like a situation.
Yeah.
So Greg's just in the back, like,
Why are we moving?
and this guy's just like in the front, and he's like, I got a bucket full of sunshine, I got love, and I know, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And he like picks up someone, and you can hear him struggling, and like, hey, get the, and he just gets yeeted in the back, so like without even looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets back in the front, and he's like, do what you want, but you're never gonna break me. So he's in his zone.
Yeah.
And the kid that he threw in the back, turns out he wasn't a kid.
Oh.
He was one of those knife wielding midgets from earlier. And he's like, where the hell? It's you again. He's like, what, I don't know what's happened. This is my friend's band. I just woke up in the back. He's like, sounds like an excuse to me. Whips up the knife.
Oh, damn.
And he's like, no. And then you just hear him like start screaming, and the back of the van starts rocking. And then it cuts to the guy in the front. He's like, and it opened up my eye, I saw the sign. He's like, oi, keep it down about that. He's just like in his zone.
Yeah.
And then like, but it kind of goes quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And they just start talking, and he's like, I'm sorry about earlier. It's not that deep or anything. It's just, I guess sometimes I'm insecure about my height, and I wish I was smaller. No, I wish I was taller. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
opposite.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. I just wish I wish I could be the bigger man, but in order to be the bigger man, you have to be the bigger man.
He's like
I've never.
Greg
I've
just
never even
looks
kissed
up
a
at the
girl.
camera or whatever, like,
Yeah.
This is my moment.
He's like, I've never even kissed a girl, man. Like, I don't even know. He's like, I think I know just the place. So I could help you out if you help us out of this situation. I can help you get some sloppy toppy, my guy.
Oh.
That's code for kiss.
Yeah.
Uh, so they agree to work together, and they like punch a way through the thing, and like strangle the guy in the thing and kill him or whatever,
Oh hi.
like choke him out crazy, and like then Greg smashes his head in with his dice. It's like a limited edition, like chunky, like
Yeah.
20-sided. No, they're usually 20-sided, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, the main one.
It's like yeah, it's a
D20, yeah.
21-sided one.
Whoa.
Because the whole movie he won't shut up about how like rare it is,
Yeah.
but no one cares. And he's like, "Do you care about my die now?" Ah! And then he makes some sort of shitty joke about the fact that this guy was killed with a die.
Oh.
Nice. And then they get back to the retirement home, and they like stumble in, and they're like, "Oh, Greg, come in, man. The water's just right. You know,
Oh.
we were sorry about earlier. You know, he's like, it's fine. You guys are right." And they see him, and they're like, "What happened, Greg?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And he just takes off his clothes, and he's like covered in this guy's blood on his face.
Jesus.
And they're like, "What happened?" He just rolls the die in the middle of the room, and then he rolls. Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No.
I was gonna say like he rolls a natural 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they all know what it means. It's a critical hit.
Yeah. 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 Like I was gonna say like he rolls the die and then he rolls the head in or something. Like that. Yeah, your one makes more sense.
Actually, well.
So he rolls that in, and you just see everyone's reaction, and all the old people go, "Oh, but how did you?" And they would just like bow in front of him,
Jesus.
and they would like, and then they stand up and start like stumbling towards him, all like wrinkly and naked and old. And he goes from like being, you can see he's about to have his Greg moment, and he stops and just like, and the camera pushes in on his face, his blood-soaked face.
Jesus.
Cuts to black.
Oh.
And what you feeling? Do you want to carry it on? And like maybe he wakes up the next morning and
yeah,
in
I
the
wanted
middle
him
of,
to
like, a
carry it
mountain
on
of old people.
because I was like, I liked where you were going with the midget, and he was gonna actually teach him like Dungeons and Dragons. It seems like.
Oh yeah, yeah no,
But
no, that did not happen.
But because well, it could be like a whole like tonal shift of like it's gone really dark, and then like he's like, okay, back to the mission at hand. It's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, like nothing happened.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
clearly it's all happened. Like he says, they're like, oh, he's done something bad. They all know, but he doesn't talk about it. I mean, he does roll in the head, and they're like, "Oh, damn!" And that what you just said does happen. It cuts to back, and then like wakes up next morning in a hotel room. He's like, "Oh, ready to start the day again," and like they all like, he's like, "Oh, I got one of the old people will come in. That midget I helped escape, you know,
Little Joe,
yeah, and Dolores, who was sleeping with Richard. They're both coming over today. We're all meeting at some game shop. I don't know where they could like go down and sit and like play Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I finally get to teach people, and then they're all like, so George and Richard like he's never actually explained what happened. All the cameramen, sorry, they were like, oh, what actually happened? Because it was just like a lot of it was just footage from like the van and the cameras that it had there, but they haven't had a chance to look at it. And then, like, all they saw with him was the blood and stuff. And he's like, right, guys, I hope you all brought some dice and I got some character sheets. And we're going to learn how to make a character today. And then they're like, oh, sweet. And only the midget knows what happens. And then there's, like, a TV on behind them. And it's just, like, starts playing the news. And they're like, oh, a man was found yesterday by such and such place who was... He was known for being, like... a pedo or whatever. And then
just on the news they go, you know, a pedo or whatever.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. And then
Ask Kate and Jerry.
but he was found like with his head missing, just on the side of the road. Blood. There was blood everywhere. And they're like, was that Greg? Like, no, it can't be. It can't be Greg. Greg couldn't do something like that. That's not in Greg's nature. And then, so like, oh yeah, this is how you create a character. It was like, oh, I'm assuming you, little Joe, you'd like to be a dwarf. He's like, no. Who do you think I what? Because I'm small, you think I want to be a dwarf? No, I want to
Nice,
be an orc.
nice.
9 foot, massive. This is all about living out your fantasies, right? Well, now here I'm gonna do it. I don't want to be me. I could. You told me I could be whoever I want. He's like, that's correct. That is right attitude. Dolores is like, uh, I don't really get all of this. Like, when do we start like killing people or whatever? And, like Greg kind of shudders and like, what? Combat doesn't start until you roll initiative, but we haven't even got the story yet. So uh, yeah, they're like, oh god, we need to. I they all go like George goes off to the side. He's like, all right, I just need to go to the toilet or something. He takes one of the cameramen to the side. He's like, all right, we need to stop this now. It's like something clearly happened with Greg last night, and he's shifty. I don't know if it was about that guy on the news, but we need to like this. This was a bad idea. Like we all knew he was gonna go off the rails. Like at some point after Janice left him from the first movie, like this whole
Yeah.
movie thing was a bad idea, and the cameraman was like, "Well, we know it was a bad idea, but
But it
everybody,
makes great television.
yeah, everybody knew it was a bad idea, but at the end of the day, it sells, and we nobody can do anything about it. I mean, if we can wrap up the story like soon, and then like the police walk in and they're like, yeah, I'm looking for little Joe, and then he's like, oh
Nice.
shit, man, Greg, they're here for us. They're gonna take us. They're gonna find us. Greg's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. I will not have you. I will not have these police ruining my game of Dungeons and Dragons. And they come down the stairs or whatever to like the game room. Like, oh yeah, I think this is the guy you're looking for. They're like, oh, officers, would you like to join us in a fair bit of roleplay? Like, no, we need to ask you guys some questions. And Greg's like, no, 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 sit down, sit down. We must play. We have to play the game. And they're like, no, son, we just need your friend here, Tom. And he's like, no, if you don't sit down, I swear to God, I'll 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 do what I did to that man last night. And he's like, they're like, all right, son. What did you do to someone last night? And he's like, didn't you see? It's everywhere. I showed him the might of me, the great Greg. And everyone's like, uh,
Yeah.
what? It's like very awkward. And the police like kind of,
That awkward moment when you cut a guy's head off.
yeah. And the police are just like reaching for their guns, like, all right, son, you need to calm down a bit. Do you want to come upstairs with us, get some air? You know, we'll take you down to the station. We'll talk to you about this. We'll get you through this. It's like, we're creating our characters. We have to. We just want to play the game. We just want to roll the dice. Have you gentlemen ever rolled the dice? It's like, go on, try it. And then they're like, no, son, you need to go try it. And then you just hear like the door lock, the upstairs door, and they're like, like one of the officers just goes to pick it up, and he rolls the dice, and it's a natural one, and he's like, oh no, you do know what a natural one means, right? Like that's the worst roll you can get. And then he just like lunges at the officer, and they're like, "Oh my god!" They're trying to pull him off. Like the guy's like, the other police officers like trying to shoot him. The midget goes in with his like little knife, runs into his knee, and just stabs the other officer in the knee. Like George is trying to rip Greg off. The camera's like all shaking, and then it's just like it like cuts off. They're like, "Turn off, turn off," and then it's just when it goes like due to like the nature of this,
Yeah, yeah,
we can
yeah.
show what happened, and then it's just like 2 3 weeks later or something, and it's just like You know, I can catfish when it starts when they go to talk to the people and you hear
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
Skype noise like
Bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah,
and then it's like, Greg, how you doing? And he's like in like an orange jumpsuit and stuff, and he's like,
yeah. He's
ah,
got like, yeah, he's in a
huzzah!
straight jacket.
I'm finally like in a place where I can teach everyone the joys of Dungeons and Dragons. They're like, what? It's like, we heard you're in prison, mate, and he's like, yeah, well, obviously I lost. I didn't have my good dice on that day, and I just, I went mental, and I've looked at that. I've looked at how I went, and it's not where I want to be. But at least some joys came out of this. I might have life, but I can teach all these inmates how to play Dungeons and Dragons. I already have a crew who are ready for it, and it's just like all these like serial killers and just all these a bunch of bad people, like a load of people who you wouldn't expect to play Dungeons and Dragons. It just shows you pictures of them playing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's great. It's really rewarding, and I might have not set out to accomplish what I did, but in the end, I guess I did it. But I might be in prison and stuff and doing life, but I'm here. I'm teaching the joys of Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, well, that's another Greg movie. We did it. And yeah, just after that, it's just some title cards like Greg.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Yes,
Greg's
I
now
am
in prison,
hopeful
but
for today.
at least he can teach people. There will not be a Greg 3. Don't ask us.
Yeah,
We're not doing it again.
yeah.
And that is Greg.
Greg.
Greg's Dungeons Diced, or I don't know. Diced Out Dungeons. Something like that. What a strange thing. It went a bit mental at the end, but it is what it is.
Dice, dice, baby.
I, Such is life, you know.
Ain't that the way, Chief?
Greg and his dice. Going
Greg
across
and
the
his
world.
dice will return.
Greg getting out.
Beyond Greg's Stray. I was rolling my daddy's dick when I was 12 years old.
Oh.
Nah, we cut that bit out. Anyway, this has been us reinventing the real.
Yeah.
You know the drill.
Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons and dice and Greg.
Oh my.
Well,
I have been. Oh.
go.
Oh, I was just gonna say I have been Curtis.
I've been Cameron. See you next week,
Okay.
man.
See you next week. Oh, I need a